Forever LFC said, I don't trust FSG. They've milked Liverpool for long enough with the sell to buy model, at least until we have a stronger squad, because 3-4 injuries next year and we're screwed. I do feel like this would be a nice summer to not put in squad filler, to go out there and actually go strategically, surgically, and go bing, bang, bosh. We need these positions. So over the last few days, we've seen the journalists start to say that Liverpool are looking as a centre-back as a priority. Today, we've heard that Liverpool are looking for a wide player as well, and we'll discuss that in the next while. So yeah, no more being cheap. Time to go out there and get it done. I've thought a lot over the past 24 hours about the situation with Virgil van Dijk, with Mohamed Salah, and with Trent Alexander-Arnold. But I've also been pleased what I've been hearing, because over the last day or two, murmurings have started to come out that if indeed Liverpool are to extend Virgil and Mo, it will be on reduced terms. Now that makes sense to me. I don't know if the players will accept that, but it is good to see that at least the reports on it are starting to be a little bit reasonable, because there's no way we could continue to pay these guys the money that they're currently earning. Virgil van Dijk's 33 in the summer. Salah's going to be 32 in the summer. So, you know, the idea of giving them a pay rise just feels madness. But this is why I said tonight with the title, sell, keep, or renew. So what are we going to do? Let's go through them all one by one and figure out what you guys are thinking. What should we do with VVD? New deal on less money, sell, or rundown deal and let him leave for free. So they're the three realistic options, I think. I don't think the idea of giving him a pay increase is on the table, and certainly what I've seen from the journalists don't suggest it's on the table either. So let's start off with our captain. What should we do? Remember, Virgil will be 33 when next season starts. So he is getting to the business end of his career. He can certainly play on for a few more years. I think most of us would agree with that. I'm somewhere stuck between... I'm probably stuck between letting him run down his contract or giving him a new deal on lesser terms. I don't feel like selling him at this point would be the best idea. I think it would be a lot of turnover. And with a new Dutch manager coming in, I would imagine having a Dutch centre-back there would probably help. Virg, I believe, can play for another couple of years. The captaincy conversation is a whole another conversation. I feel like if you let Virg go for free at 34, I think I could stomach that. Because I don't know how much Virgil would be worth right now if we were to sell him this summer. So let's say we sold him at 1 year to go as a 33-year-old. No idea how much money you would get for Virg. But I do know getting 1 more year out of him and letting him leave at the end of that, I could live with that. Financially for the club, there's probably far more benefit to selling him. But that's my view on it. 1 more year on his current contract, then let him leave for free, or renew him on less money. That would be one of my two priorities, or one of my two preferences, I should say, excuse me. The lack of respect VVD gets on here is shocking. Fuck you, Stephen. Just honestly, just do one, you absolute moany, whingy little fucking clown. I'm sick of this type of shit, mate. I'm sick of it. I am absolutely sick to death that you can't have a conversation around anyone without somebody crying and whinging like a little cry-ar saying, oh, the disrespect. We're having a conversation. You can be part of the conversation. If you want to defend Virgil or you want to speak up for him, then do it without trying to demean other people. This absolute nonsense of trying to just piss all over everybody else's opinions without actually contributing needs to come to a stop. If you've got something to say to the conversation, mate, add to it. If you don't, shut up. It's that simple, really. And Virgil is being judged on what we're seeing. And nobody has made a definitive decision. That's the why we go with a poll. We ask the question and we get an opinion on it. I don't understand how you don't get that, or how that isn't acceptable. It's weird. Other people are allowed opinions that you don't agree with, Stephen. Surprise, surprise. Not everybody agrees with everything. I don't agree with half the stuff I see in the chat, but I still want to give people the perspective that they're allowed to talk and think differently. But what I don't like is people who just neg, don't have anything to add to the conversation, just want to belittle others. And if that's the type of person you want to be, best find another channel. Because we want people who have, yes, varied opinions, but are respectful. So stop moaning. And by the way, I've not seen a single bit of disrespect towards VVD in here. I see people having an opinion about whether he's getting worse, whether he's staying the same. We've talked about the captaincy, and I'll be honest, I don't like him as a captain, but I've tried to caveat that by saying I've no problem with him staying on. I'm just fed up of the negativity. It's like if you say something about Darwin, it's hate. You couldn't possibly just be critiquing or have an opinion. It goes straight to hate. That's nonsense. Look, there's no right or wrong answer here. You're entitled to an opinion. My opinion with Verge is a new deal on less money. No problem with that. Letting him run down his deal and leave next summer, no problem with that. I just don't think now is the time we need to be moving Virgil on, personally. New deal on less money is a landslide, so we don't need to keep this one running. 73% of you guys think a new deal for Virgil on less money is the outcome that you would like to see. I think it's sensible. I do think it's sensible, because we're going to have upheaval already this summer. We're going to have it with a new sporting director. We're going to have it with a new gaffer. So yeah, the limiting of that on the pitch, if possible, makes sense. No problem with Virgil or anyone getting a contract on less money. No problem with that whatsoever. What I've always said is I don't feel giving Salah or Verge an improvement would make any sense. I just don't think they've gotten better over time, if you get where I'm coming from. So look, that was the one for Virgil. We'll move on to do the one for... Who do you want to do next? Trent or Salah? For Trent, same three options, slight bit different. Do we give him a new deal on more money? Do we sell, or do you allow him to run down his current deal? I think this should be a no-brainer. You know, you don't want to lose. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you want to sell him. I don't know, but you certainly don't want a talent like Trent running his contract down and leaving for free. I would imagine that this would be a new deal on more money would be the answer for most of you guys in the chat, because it makes sense. Trent should stay. Trent is an academy player, still not in his prime 100%. I feel like he's going to become a better player in the future, said Rafid. Trent must not go. Great player, said Brandon. Robbie said Trent must play in midfield. I think with the Trent one, we can knock this one on the head as well. 85% of you guys think that the right thing to do is give Trent a new deal with more money. And look, I think it's the very sensible play. So with Virgil, we had give him a new deal on less money. Most people think keep Virgil around, offer him a new deal on reduced terms. That's the way forward. I agree. Actually, I've agreed with both your votes so far, to be honest. Now let's see what happens with Mo. We'll do the same thing. Same with Salah. What do we do? Do we look to cash in? Do we offer him a new contract on reduced terms? Or do you get the last year of his contract and allow him to leave for free? Again, up to you guys what you decide. I'm not going to try and skew this vote. But as I said, I am interested to see what the Saudi reaction will be, because we've seen today, as an example, this was posted by David Ornstein, who said, the Saudi admiration for Mo Salah hasn't gone away, but it's not quite as urgent and aggressive as it was last summer. If Salah is committed to Liverpool, then it's case closed. And what I will say is, and obviously I don't know Mo personally, but I do feel like Salah will look at the situation and think he's not ready to retire, which, let's be honest, that's what Saudi is at this point to players. So I think for me it boils down to two things. Can we keep him focused, committed and excited enough that we keep him at the club for another year or two? Or do you think if he wants to continue on in Europe, which I believe he will, do you look to then see if he wants a new challenge? I think they're the realistic options here. I don't think he'll go to Saudi. I'd be very surprised if he'd go to Saudi at this point. You know, because the more I've thought about this, the more I feel he is on the decline, and I'm not going to change my mind on that, but I can understand the prospect of him wanting a couple more years in Europe. I feel he's well capable of that. So the question for me is, would he accept reduced terms at Liverpool if Michael Edwards offered them to him? It's a difficult negotiation, you know, because Salah will correctly, and his agent, point to his service to the club, the goals he scored, the records he's broken, and that he wants his wage bill to reflect his seniority and his achievements at the club. And normally I'd agree with that. And to some extent I still do. But I think you also have to look at it from the side of, you're not getting better. Same with Virgil. Neither of these two are going to get better, but they can probably continue on a level that they're at. Then what do you do money-wise? I think the answer is hope that they accept reduced terms, but if they don't, this is what I'm concerned about. If Virgil was to say, no, I'm not taking reduced terms, I'm happy to sign on, but I want the same money or more, that's a difficult decision for Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. If the same is with Mohamed Salah, I would say same thing. Very difficult decision. Is he worth a pay increase? I don't think so. Same as I've said about Virgil. He knows nobody's watching the Saudi League, let's be honest. Look, no argument for me, dude. The Saudi League, I don't think it's ever going to catch on the way they maybe wanted to. I just don't think it will. I think the temperature alone, like the heat, is enough that it will never really catch on. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think it could be a good league in that part of the world. It could be the standout league in that part of the world. But I don't know if it'll ever compete with the likes of Europe. I just don't think it will. Maybe that's snobbery from my part. I'm open to that as well. Let me just look at these numbers. So what do we do with Mohamed Salah? New deal on less money, 32% of the vote. Sell, 62% of the vote. And allow his deal to run down, 5% of the vote. So it looks like you guys want to sell Mohamed Salah. That genuinely, that surprised me. I thought with the introduction of this conversation to allow him to have a new deal on less money, I thought that's where you were going to go. As to whether I agree or not, so here's where I stand on Salah. I think if you can guarantee me that FSG are going to give Arne Slot the money to bring in another forward, and it isn't weighted to whether we sell a forward or not, then I think I like the idea of giving Salah another year on less terms and keeping him at the club and hoping that this year was a blip. But it has to be a calculated risk. And by that I mean we have to have an option that if it isn't working out, that we can at least have somebody there to put pressure on him, which will hopefully up everyone's levels in attack. So for me, the more I've started to hear about journos talking about these reduced terms things being an option, I think that's probably where I'd go with it. So I think I'm probably in the give him another year on less terms and see if this season was a blip. Or the end of this season was a blip. I think that's where I'm at. But I do want us to bring in another wide forward because there's no pressure on some players in our squad. There's not really any pressure on Verge. There's not really any pressure on Salah. And until his injury, there was probably no pressure on Alisson. So I like competition because it stops people from going stale, getting lazy. And that's what I think. So I think I slightly disagree with you guys on that poll. But my position has changed in the past couple of days because I never thought the opportunity to give him that deal on less money would work. But if it is there and he would take it, I wouldn't say no to giving him another year.